Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Draft League. This is the VGCDL season number 9, and I'm going to be breaking down my team, my draft picks, and a little bit of a breakdown. So, VGCDL, or the VGC Draft League, is in a season 9 in a draft league I've been in since season 2. I've been in players since season 2, and I've been staff for I don't know how many seasons now. It's been a fair few. In this video, we're going to break down what I drafted, my team, and what I imagine doing this season. In another live streamer video, I'll break down the 4 Champions League group with somebody else here, and we'll give our opinions preseason without indicating any player strength. Um, so yeah, let's get into the breakdown here. I got second pick. Our format's a little interesting. I'm quite a fan of it, but it's different than many draft leagues. We use a tier and point system. So if you look over here to draft compensations, it tells you wants to be filled. So your mandatory one tier one, two tier twos, two tier threes, a tier four, and a tier five. Then you have these points picks. In a lot of drafts, you either have things in different tiers and you just draft a number of certain tiers, or you have everything points. Say you have 200, 300 points, and then you have to build a team of 8 to 12 Pokemon with those points. Ours, you mandatory 11 Pokemon, and only 4 of these spots are points picks. If I go to the tier list, we have tier 0 through tier 5. Tier 0 costs 180, tier 1 140, 2 tier 100, tier 3 60, tier 4 40, and tier 5 20. You get 300 points. So if you draft a tier 0, that means you have to draft either 3 tier 4s or a tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 to round out. But if you draft tier 1s or tiers 2s, you can draft more of those and more, not as many tier 5s, etc. So you have a little bit of strategy behind it, but everybody's required for those main picks. Like earlier I said, I got pick number 2. We'll look at the tier list. Tier list real quick. Tier 0 is all megas. There's no regular Pokemon in tier 1. You'll see what you some of them which got picked here which crossed the red, but we'll get over that later. So tier 0 is your top tier megas. Tier 1 is megas and regulars, and it goes all the way down to tier 5. So we're gonna start with the story of the second pick. So you're not allowed to trade picks in this league. There's no trades of picks. You can trade Pokemon post draft, but it's pretty rare in our league. Um, Going into the draft, I wanted to try Pokemon I haven't tried before, and there was only really two main tier zeros I was looking at. My first idea was I didn't want to draft Floette or Zard Y. Spoiler alert. Fred, Zard Y, Mega Gengar are your top 3 Pokemon most people consider in the draft. Floette and Zard have been the top 2 Megas in Champions for a while. Floette just does a ton of damage, and Megazard Y is just really good. And then Mega Gengar's ability to trap with Shadow Tag, its speed in general, is also a top tier. So those are what were they're widely considered the top 3 picks going into the draft. I'll tell you in all the groups that was not the case. In some groups, it's definitely the case. But I was hoping to be somewhere around the 7, 8 mark, sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 mark, closer to the end. Maybe I can pick up a strong tier 1, tier 2, and then go start filling out my tier zeros, etc. I don't think you have to draft tier 0. I just think in this format with those strong of megas that you have to. Additionally, before we start, item clause is a thing in VGC, so it's one item per hold. Species clause, this is also split to like I can't draft. So you have Mega Raichu and Raichu. You can't draft both, or Mega Raichu, Pikachu, etc. Um, so I got the second pick. So I was like, well, I don't want the first top megas, and the mega I was really going after, which was Mega Frostlass, I was thinking at this end. I can't really justify doing that pick too. So the first Pokemon we picked up is nope, not Mega Gengar. Mega Gengar is just a great Pokemon. Shadow Tag, obviously, many people know how strong Shadow Tag is. Its ability. It's also famous for trapping people in for one thing: Perish Song. Perish Song has been popularized by Wolfie, obviously, one of the only person to win a regional using a Perish Song strategy. Although we've now had somebody have Perish Song, Marco Silva, and win a tourney. But I think it's just a strong, versatile Pokemon draft. I mean, its base special attack is ridiculous and its speed's ridiculous. So this is going to be my main Mega I will be using. Obviously, it has some different status moves as well. It has Curse, Destiny Bond, Disable's very good. Pain Split's interesting. Perish Song, of course, which I'm sure I'll bring sometime. It's not going to be my main strategy, spoiler alert, but it will be something I, of course, can consider. Has access to Substitute as well. Support moves in Thunderwave, Toxic, and Will-O-Wisp, which is really her trick, and a few other moves down here like Hypnosis, Imprison, which comes up, Psych Up, etc. But Mega Gengar is just a solid Pokemon to build around. It's mostly going to be a strong special attacker with high speed, or you can make it more bulky with a subset or something next to it to make it survive to perish trap people. So that's what my first pick was pick 2 here. I was very excited to get this Pokemon. Like I did mention, there was 2 tier 0s I was looking for to get. This was actually the other one. I have actually never drafted regular Gengar or Mega Gengar in any other draft, or it hasn't been legal. So I'm excited to use it. Very excited to use it and try it this season, and we'll see how good we do with it. So circling back around, we went through all these picks, different megas, different base Pokemon back up, and now I'm back up. I'm looking at tier 1. Obvious pairings would be a dark type like Tyranitar, King Gambit, something sort of that area. That was my first thinking. King Gambit went before me, and a few other Pokemon went before me. There was a Pokemon I was shocked was still on the board. It's a very, very strong Pokemon, so I decided to just, you know what? Let's pick it up. We'll fit it into the team and sort of go through there. And that Pokemon, which was surprisingly still up, was Garchomp. Garchomp is just a very insanely strong Pokemon. Not only in Champs, which is the format we're playing, but in general, it's just very good. Sandvale was handiver against the Santee. And then you have Rough Skin, obviously, for contact moves and damaging. Stats are ridiculous. 108 BHP per bulk, 130 attack, good speed. It outspeeds a lot of the 100-point megas, like Megazord ideally, and the 101, so it is very fast. Just good stats overall. You can run special. Even with the limited items, you have Scarf, you have Life Orb, but you also have Resist Berries and some other stuff you can run. So it's also very versatile. But of course, you have the classic Dragon Claw, EQ, you have access to Rock Slide, Iron Head, Poison Jabs against Fairies, which already Gengar covers Fairies well with its Poison typing. So it doesn't really share many weaknesses. Obviously, Ice and Dragon. But Gengar's good at taking on the Fairy types Garchomp struggles with historically. So I figured it was a good and just too strong Pokemon to pair with. Um, Before I continue, I want to talk about a few things, ideas into this draft. I think especially in draft, flexibility is key. You need to be flexible with your strategy week to week. So I wouldn't draft pure sun, pure rain, etc. I like to be flexible and be able to adapt and be a little less predictable. I like to make sure I can either have Tailwind or stop Tailwind, have Trick Room or stop Trick Room, have utility being either in Fake Out, Healing, Protect, Redirection, or just something that enables Pokemon as well. So that's kind of philosophies that I follow. And I also like having a strong core, whether that be like Mega into a strong offensive core, Mega into defensive core, etc. So you'll see kind of my ideas and logic as we keep building here. But back to Garchomp, it's just ridiculously strong of a Pokemon. It has some, not as many utility. It's pretty good at what it does. It attacks. It does have Dragon Cheer and Helping Hand, which are both actually pretty interesting for draft. Scary Face is actually usable, and of course you have SD Sub and Rest Talk. So it does have some utility as well. So some weeks it might just be an attacker. I could get some utility with it. Just excited to use it. And it's also a Pokemon I've never drafted. Um, you'll see I have drafted a fair few of these Pokemon that you'll see more of, but the first two Pokemon I've been wanting to try and never drafted is a good start to me. Third Pokemon we're looking here. I'm trying to get some of that utility and defense. Ground's an issue with Gengar. I want to make sure I have a ground answer. Ice is an issue with Garchomp. I kind of want to make sure I have an ice answer. And there's a Pokemon that fits perfectly, but it also gives me utility. It gives me access to Tailwind, pivoting, and just some other options. So I thought a perfect pairing with these, and it was still on the board, is good old Corviknight. Corviknight's a strong Pokemon. It's a good partner for Garchomp because you can now fire off Earthquakes without having to worry about killing Gengar or your other side Pokemon. It deals with Ice types well, so if you have an Ice or Fairy type that's threatening Garchomp, you can switch in Corviknight and it'd be pretty good as Ice is neutral. Um, but it was just a good pairing in general. Gengar struggles against Dark. Corviknight really doesn't. Um, Pretty good into other ghosts as well, even though it doesn't longer resist. I think it's just a solid Pokemon. High HP, good defense, good special defense. And also, well, it's a bit on the slower side, it had access to Tailwind and Taunt. I think two crucial support moves. Tailwind, I think, is almost necessary. You want to match Tailwinds, be able to be outspeed opponents, obviously. And with these two being very high powered, if I'm able to get a Tailwind off and start attacking with two, I could win games pretty quickly. Um, Coordinating general is just pretty bulky, has good steel moves, good flying moves. Status moves has bulk ups, iron defense sets, has body press. Also does have screens, so you could run a light clay screen set with it, which is also something that I like to have with screens. Obviously, Tail Tongue it has Roost to keep healing itself. Protects, but it also has like Feather Dance, Scary Face, Swagger, and some other cool tech. So I do quite like that. That also has access to good abilities. Mirror Armor is really good against Intimidators. If Intimidators try to come in, whittle Garchomp down with your Incineroars, your Scrafties, your Staraptors, etc. Mirror Armor will deflect it back, especially if you're against like a Mega Staraptor and they lead it and you bring in Corviknight. It will go to -1 for it Megas, and then even if it wants to Charm or anything, it'll be at +1, or it'll still be at -1, not doing that much damage. Pressure's pretty good if we're in a longer stallier game to reduce BP, though I don't imagine that's going to be the case. And then Unnerve is also really good for this format because berries, resist berries in general, are very popular. And if I run Unnerve, they won't be able to use these items. So if they have a resist berry to live a Gengar hit like K-Sib or a poison hit, if I have Unnerve, then those berries won't be able to activate. So I think it's a really solid core. So that's Tier 1 Garchomp, Tier 2 Barbour, and a Tier 0 Point Wick for those following around. So we're in a very, very solid area. Um, I was gonna go for some Scrafties or a Mega Crabominal Tier 2 was like an idea. I was finding a fair few ideas, but as the board fell, it came down and get back to me. I thought the Pokemon was on a board that I have actually round one before in a different format, and a Pokemon I just didn't think should be on the board. It also completes a major core mine. It's actually one of the, if not my top five favorite Pokemon to use in VGC Draft ever. Our fourth pick here is Primarina. I love this thing. Strong fairy type. I think this is going to be massive. Also plays the fairy still Dragon Tour. And they all do different things. This can be your bulky, more supportive, or every, defensive Pokemon. Your fast attacker. Your whatever. And then Primarina's your slower. Could be good in a Trick Room, could be good in Tailwind, especially Balti, but hits like a truck. It also has spread moves with Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice. Also has that Fairy typing as well. Doesn't struggle against grounds either, but it beats Fairy types. It beats Ice types that it covers for Garchomp. It doesn't really too much care about Darken types because it's fairy type and can destroy it with Gengar and doesn't really cover with Ghost type. So these four are just solid. Premier also has access to Perish Song, so it's another enabler of the Perish Trap strategy. So if I do want to Perish Trap, I don't always have to run it on Gengar. I can run it on Primarina or I can run it on neither. So my opponent, in especially in a closed team format, is going to have to prep for it. Um, I love Primarina. It could be bulky. You can do Calm Mind sets. You can do Moonblast. It has Icy Wind as well for supporting moves, which just go to special. Blizzard if you're going a snow team. It does have Energy Ball coverage if you're really struggling against grass types, but Moonblast is more like it. It gets Psychic coverage, it gets Ghost coverage, and Sparkling Aria if you're against like burns, but it also gets access to Weather Ball. You'll see why that's important a little bit later. But Weather Balls are good, especially in this format against Zard Y. You can get Fire Weather Balls and other things as well. Like I said, Icy Wind and some cool other tech like Whirlpool are pretty cool. And then for its like niche status move, it gets Encore, which again, huge. Normally fast Encore is really good, but if this thing's in Tailwind, it could be a fast Encore user. Has Calm Mind, has screens as well that I can enable Gengar and others to live longer. It also has Substitute, but it also has like cool moves like Aqua Wing, which could actually be pretty useful. Aqua Wing Leftovers receives a bunch of Pokemon. You can run like an Aqua Wing Calm Mind Hyper Voice Moonblast set. Um, Life Dew it also gets, which is really good. Sinister uses this mostly on ladder, you'll see, but it can heal it and its allies, so it can be a very supportive Pokemon. Has Charm to low attack, Helping Hand, also has access to Rain Dance and Snowscape in case, and the always fun Wonder Room, which if you watch WDL, you've seen Shady Penguin run. But yeah, these four are just a super solid start. I was very happy with this. It's my tier 1 filled, it's my 2 tier 2 filled, and then it is my tier 0 first points picks fill. Now, the only downside about, per se, drafting all these strong Pokemon early is maybe a lot of that value at tier 3, tier 4, some of the points picks is not there. Uh, Meaning there might be less of an incentive or less Pokemon like that around. So that's something to keep in mind. But there is still, next we're going to tackle our tier 3s. We're going to do this in the order I drafted. And funny enough, the next three are all tier 3 Pokemon. Um, what I want to do with my tier 3s is I have I think, a very solid attacking combo as well. Maybe another physical attacker, but I really wanted to focus on more support to enable my team. So the first pick, I was looking at some like scrapping everything. I don't think I'm that ground weak right now, so I can afford this. The next Pokemon I picked was regular Raichu. Reason for regular Raichu, it is very fast at 110. It's actually one of the fastest fake out users. With only one person able to have Sneasler, it's one of the fakest fake units left on the board, which is going to be great support for either a substitute Gengar, more setup options like Primarina, or just being able to fast to break sashes and do damage. Fake Out is one of the best moves I think in VGC in general, so I'm just glad it has it. And it also has some access to Nuzzle, which is also, even with its attack stat, which is kind of the same as special attack, Nuzzle's just a good supporting move to paralyze and make people slower. While Raichu doesn't hit hard, it is not that um we frail. 60 HP is not great, but it does have 80 defense, so it can live a hit. But it also has, like I said, it's mostly utility. It gets fast Encore, which is, I think, pretty nuts. Fast Thunder Wave. It gets Eerie Impulse, which is a good support move to minus a bit special attack. Fake Tears as well. You could do Fake Out, then you could do like Calm Mind Premier, then you can do Fake Tears or Helping Hand, or even like Tickle. It also has access to Rain Dance, so if against like a Zard matchup and when you want Rain, which my team doesn't mind of, it's pretty good as well. Then it gets those classics, like it gets Discharge, it gets Draining Kiss, it gets some other, it gets Screens, Knockoff is good in this format. I think it's just a solid tier 3 that's going to offer a lot of different support for my team. Uh, the next Pokemon I ended up drafting was I would like a second Mega. Despite probably bringing Gengar a lot of time, there could be some games where I want a second Mega to change up the difference, or a matchup that Gengar doesn't look too good well in. I could bring in this Mega, but also I could bring both to a week and they have to play a guessing game, or even bring both to a game. I wanted a Mega that was still strong, but also Pokemon I could use by itself in the right situations. I was looking through the list. There was a lot of okay and eh. options in tier 3. I didn't want to really go to the tier 4 megas. A lot of them were not ideal, or special attackers that sort of covered the same niche. So the next Pokemon I selected was Mega Phalanx. So a new Mega here in Champion. So you're not going to be able to see the sprite because Showdown. But Mega Phalanx is a Defiant Pokemon. It has Defiant also before, so good into another Intimidate that Garchomp could fare pretty badly into. Its attacks defense stats pretty good. 135 attack, 135 defense is really good. Can take physical hits. It also has 100 speed, so under Tailwind it's going to overspeed a lot, and it ties a lot of megas. So if a lot of megas are looking at Gengar like, oh, I'm not going to outspeed it anyways, I'll mess more in ball, I can bring Phalanx and it patches a pretty big punch. It has body press as well, so it could really be a bulky Mega Phalanx with HP defense, etc. It gets close combat, just a really good move. First impression will catch a lot of people off guard. I can bring it in. And first impression, it knockoffs are pretty good, able to hit Ghost. Has Iron Head, so even if it is weak to Fairy, we'll be able to hit it there. It's got Poison Jab, it's got Megahorn, it's got Superpower, it's got some interesting other moves as well. It gets beat up, so for people who are looking for stamina using like Mudstale or whatever, there's some Swell and Sparch. Also get access to Upper Hand. Upper Hand is great. It's going to allow me to prevent things like Sucker Punch or Fake Out from the enemy side. I can put this next to it, not even Mega it. We'll have to hold the Mega Stone though. Click Upper Hand to prevent a kill and be able to kill something, which is something I will probably definitely bring. Look out, opponents who are watching this. But yeah, Bulk Up Iron Defense is good. Gets this classic no retreat. You can just, if you're able to get a Mega and set it up with no retreat, +1 everything, this thing hits like a truck. It also gets Coaching. Coaching is a great move that gives allies defense +1. Coaching next to Corviknight, Coaching next to Garchomp is really good. Even Coaching next to Raichu is actually a thing. It also gets Sunny Day, Rain Dance for weather control, and Screech. So I think it's just a good backup Mega for me that can also cover a lot of niches. It does give another does away to do with normal types, which is something I don't really have with a lot as well, and gives a few resistances as well. The next Pokemon I plan on drafting Weavile. Uh, it is the fastest Fake Out um, that we have. So those are both tier 3, and my third tier 3 for points was going to be Weavile. Unfortunately, that was sniped in front of me. It was the only real snipe I had all thing, and it was kind of devastating. I had to rework some of the plans, but we found a different, very strong tier 3 that I didn't think should be on the board, and that is Vivian. Vivian is really good. Access to compoundized sleep powder is nuts. Friend Guard's also pretty good with able to do that. Shield Dust is okay, whatever. But 89 speed's not bad, but Combine Owl's sleep powder is nuts. Having access to fast sleep powder and putting things to sleep is great. It's a great focus sash user. But otherwise, very good sportman. It also has access to Tailwind, which is massive. Tailwind, having a secondary Tailwind user, not always having to rely on Coordinate, is great. It also has access to Rage Powder, which is redirection, something I mentioned earlier, which is great. Allowing you to set up or sacrifice it is really, really, really nice. I think redirection is very important. Also has access to Light Screen. Quiver Dance, you can run if you want to set up with it, but it also gets Rain Guard and String Shot, which is actually not bad. It hits foes on minus speed. It's a pretty good support move when you want to be faster. But it also gets Air Slash, Bug Buzz, Energy Bulk, Hurricane. It gets some coverage moves as well. It also gets Weather Ball. So this thing can hit with the weather too. So don't be surprised to see that as well. And Side Pollen Puff, a way to heal your team as well as do damage. I think pretty solid for tier 3. So that means we've hit our tier 1, 2 tier 2s, tier 3s, tier 0 point pick, and a tier 3 point pick here as well. So all we have left now is a tier 4, a tier 4 pick, tier 5, and then a tier 5 point pick. A lot of the tier 4s didn't interest me or I wasn't a huge fan of. They're kind of divisive. A lot of people saw a lot of value there. A lot of people like me saw top value but not really the rest of it. So I opted to actually take my tier 5s first. I think getting tier 5s, which are pretty weak in general, getting the two of the stronger tier 5s, I think was definitely a priority for me. Now, we're going to our tier 5. So I took a tier 5 that might have few of you will be, huh? But there's a reason. Ought to know. Let's talk about it. Classic tier 5 Pokemon, right? Stats look it doesn't attack. I guess it's a little bulky, but what is it doing here? Its ability Healer is pretty good. 50 chance this ally has its status secured, so poison, whatever, doesn't really affect it. Regenerator is a singles ability, but it could work. You've seen it like a Moongus to coming in and out. And then Klutz, obviously, we will never use. This is one of the worst abilities I've ever seen in my life. Except it gets skill swap. So skill swap is a great utility. You could swap Klutz onto Pokemon. So I can skill swap Klutz into something, meaning it now has Klutz, meaning it does item doesn't have held effect, which is actually a pretty unique and good thing at draft. You can catch people out, but it also has a lot of support moves. This is the only non-ghost or psychic type in the whole entire game that gets Trick Room. Trick Room is huge, and being able to not be a psychic or a ghost type is insane. That means it's the only Trick Room setter that doesn't die to a ghost Pokemon. Now, granted, I have the best ghost Pokemon in the format, but having this is super nice, especially as a niche. Also has Healing Wish, so I can feign it to fully heal. Encore's good support, even though it's slow. Thunder Wave has Wish. Yawn's really good, forces switches, but it also has a few really nice moves down here. After You in Trick Room is great. After you've seen on used it on Torkoal mostly, but it's basically saying no, you go first. So I could be a very fast Pokemon in Trick Room, but I could say nope. After you. Ally Switch is really good. You can swap your teammates if they're targeting another slot and catch somebody out. Entrainment's actually pretty decent. Um, you could match, say you have Klutz and Entrainment, you can change the abilities to other. Heal Pulse is great healing, especially in Trick Room. Other Life Dew's great, and Helping Hand's great. Simple Beam's just funny. I might use that this season, we'll see. But this is like a Trick Room answer. It's bulky, it's pretty slow. You can set up Trick Room, prevent Trick Room, and I have a few Trick Room mons like Primarine can play in Trick Room, Corviknight can play in Trick Room. So it's not like I'm going to be weak to Trick Room either, which is something I kind of prioritize. It also gets Rain Dance, so it gets Torkoal Trick Room or others. We're alright. So that's a tier 5 Pokemon. It's not the best Pokemon, but it definitely has utility. And also has a Gen 5 classic, pretty decent move pool stuff. The next tier 5 got was regular Absol. 130 base attack for a tier 5 is stupid. And it also, in a limited pressure format, has access to Scope Lens. And it's one of the best Scope Lens users. It has Night Slash. It has Psycho Cut, which are both high crit Scope Lens item. It's pretty damn good. Pressure's pretty good. You can lose additional PP. Super Luck, Scope Lens, these. You're critting every time. Like, if it's ridiculous. In 75 speed, if you get a Tailwind and they don't have it up, if you have a stab, night slash crit, it might be dead. So it's actually a pretty good tier 5. And Justified isn't that bad. I could switch this in form of Gengar, and if you hit it with Justified, I get attack plus 1 as well. So it's actually pretty good. So 120 attack plus 2 is pretty good. Stab Dark type moves. It has ways to deal with fairies with Iron Tail. It has ways to hit ghosts. It has Throat Chop. It has Sucker Punch, which is also insane priority. Say I get hit and I'm not running the Super Elk set, I get a +1 Sucker Punch on somebody and a stab. It's like a King Gambit Sucker Punch, and it's almost stronger. If you look at King Gambit, it's 135. So It's hitting almost as strong as King Gambit's Sucker Punches, which is ridiculous. Black Ice's Sucker Punch from this thing hits hard. So it's something to get. It also has one of the most unique moves, Perish Song. I have 3 of the available Perish Song users. Watch out, everybody. Some Pokemon's gonna click it this season. I'm not telling you which out of the 3, but somebody's clicking it. Perish Song is fully gonna happen this season. So watch out, everyone. It's coming. It also has access to moves such as Taunt, Thunder Wave, and Will Wisp, which are really good as well, and access to rain moves. So this thing's pretty good value as a tier 5. So somebody's going to get gooed by this season. The last thing we have is our 2 tier 4s. I did originally draft Scovillain. This is not on the team anymore. I traded out for something else. It was kind of just Panic's second redirector. Don't really need it. Kind of doesn't fit on my team. I am a little definitely fire weak for my team, but it's not something I can't handle, um, for sure. With changing weathers, rain being so good, etc. So I thought I needed a little more Trick Room incentive, and I wanted a Psychic type to resist fighting, because I have an Absol. Corviknight doesn't actually resist fighting. My fighting resist is Vivillon. Not great. So I picked up Musharna. Musharna's a cool Pokemon. Forewarn's a decent ability. This Pokemon is learned to foes with the highest power, so say something's running a sneaky outrage or something, I'll be able to know. Synchronize is cool if they try to do a talk strategy, and telepathy is the main ability here. Pairs well with Garchomp, it means I can't be hit by Earthquake, so that Vivillon and Corviknight can enable Garchomp to do Earthquake safely. This thing's bulky, 116 base HP, 95 special defense, 85 defense good. It also has decent special attack. So this thing is significantly strong and bulkier than people think. Also has access to Trick Rooms, making it a second Trick Room user and a different way to prevent Trick Room. It's also one of the slowest Pokemon to exist. So I'll be able to go first in opposing Trick Rooms. I'll be able to damage Pokemon, and I'll be able to put statuses. Calm Mind's great. Healing Wishes, like we talked about earlier. Screens are also great. Trick is good. Yawn is really good. Ally Switch again, another great move. Guard Swap's an interesting move. Has Imprison, so I can imprison Trick Rooms. It has Psychic Terrain, which is able to prevent priority, and one of the only other ways you can get it. It also has Wonder Room, Skill Swap, and all that, but also has some decent attacking. Dazzling Gleam's good Fairy, Energy Ball. It has Expanding for, so Trick Room, Psychic Terrain, Expanding Force. Or if you have Psychic Terrain teams, and I click the Trick Room, I got a better Expanding Force than you. Has Moonlight to heal itself. You also have access to Shadow Balls, Psychic moves, Stored Power, which is always a Draft League special, and some other moves like Charge Beam. It's a pretty good tier 4, and it gives me a lot of utility, which again, I have a lot of good attackers. I want utility at this point. The very last team, again, drafted Scovillain, but the very last member of my team, the Jirachi's Women's Go Wakemakers, Obama Snow. Uh, yes, I realize it's times for weakness to fire. Times for weakness to fire. Weakness to fire. Uh, we'll be fine. I'm not too worried. With Primarina, Garchomp resist, and then other Pokemon in a fire type matchup, we'll be fine. Uh, it gives me access to Snow. For my team, minus Garchomp, Snow's pretty good. Corviknight doesn't mind it. Premier definitely doesn't mind it, and it gets Weather Ball. Doesn't mind it. Gets Weather Ball. Doesn't mind it. Doesn't mind it. Doesn't mind it. Doesn't mind it. So getting access to another way to change weather, especially quickly in a rain or sun matchup, I think is very important. It also gives me access to Veil. Veil is great. I'm able to get Veil with Light Clay, get those screens up, set up, and do well in teams. The Bombzo is just decent to do that. Veil's really good. You can rent some Leech Seeds. It has like Rain Dance as well. It's not really amazing, but it does well in what you need it to be, which is set up Snow and do damage. But you can set up Snow, live a little bit. Has some like Chilling Water, probably support you blizzards in the snow, you have a way to break screens with Brick Break. Your priority ice shards, get randomly low kick and outrage. I doubt I'll use those. And then it also gets Weather Ball, which is pretty massive. So I get a lot of support as well as Icy when this thing's able to do things I need it to do. And it has a niche that I wanted it to fill, and I want to be better against weather. So this is your team for Season 9. All games for my division will be played on Pokemon Champions. I will be live recording all of my weeks, including a team builder in the same video. So if you see week 1, imagine the team builder is the first part of it, and then the 2 to 3 games will be after. Then after all that showing, I'll put in a cut, and I'll probably show you both the team's OTSs and show you maybe how we could have prepped more, some cool attacks from each, and hopefully it's just going to be a very, very fun season. I hope you all enjoyed this team breakdown, and I hope you all follow along this season, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. Thank you.